Good day and shalom from Torah Shorts. Today we're going to have a look at the concern that some have about the 613 laws. When I speak to people, I often get the question, so if you keep Torah, do you still slaughter animals, or do you keep the 613 laws? So, which is a legitimate question and a legitimate concern as well, because if you don't have the understanding, that might be difficult to comprehend. So just as a reminder, I want you to think about the fact that Yahuah never changes. You can read those scripture references. Not his covenant, nor his words from his mouth does change. His word, the written word, may not be changed. That all scripture applies. And the conclusion from the above is that we are to keep the Torah. So, having said that and being reminded of that, Yahusha confirms the following. We read in John 5 verse 46 and 47. He says, "For if you believed Moshe, you would have believed me, since he wrote about me. But if you do not believe his writings, how shall you believe my words?" So Yahusha is saying, keeping in mind that Moshe wrote the first five books of the scriptures, he says, if you do not believe Moshe's words, how can you believe his words? So the very clear message here is that the first five books of the Torah applies. And Yahusha said that when he was walking on the earth. He also insisted in Hebrews 10:28, anyone who has disregarded the Torah of Moshe dies without compassion on the witness of 2 or 3 witnesses. Anyone who disregarded the Torah of Moshe. We cannot disregard his Torah. Then Yahuah also reminds us that in Revelation 22:14 he says, "Blessed are those doing his commands, so that the authority shall be theirs unto the tree of life, and to enter through the gates into the city," which says that blessed are those doing the commands of Yahuah, and because those who do obey his commands will be able to enter into his kingdom. So there is no doubt that we have to keep the Torah of Moshe. So we're going to have a look at that now. So how is it possible for us to keep the Torah of Moshe? Many are concerned. They say they cannot keep the 10 commandments. How can they keep the 613 commands? Well, if your concern is the amount of commands, it would be a good idea to just give some thought of how many laws you as a citizen of any country have to obey. Keeping in mind the traffic laws, the taxes you have to pay, the judicial system, business practice, import and export rules and laws, rules at work, school rules, sports rules. There are thousands and thousands of rules that we keep every day, well, without even thinking of it. Just as we have today, there are hundreds of rules kept to keep the traffic safe on the road. We have to keep in mind that not all rules apply to everybody. And that is a very important point to understand. That some of the rules of the road applies to the pedestrian, how you cross a road. Some rules apply to cars. Others will be applied to buses. For example, there will be bus lanes where cars cannot go, but buses do go. There will be rules for trucks and heavy vehicles. There will be rules for cyclists and motorcyclists. So not every law of the road applies to every user of the road. The 613 laws of the Torah apply to the people of Israel, meaning the believers of Yahuah. Those who truly believe the Word, the Bible, and keeps it. Those laws apply to these people. For example, we have to keep in mind, as I said, that not every law applies to everybody. We look at the laws for the Levites, for example, in the temple. They have got laws that will only apply to the Levites. Farmers, rules for the farmers will only apply to the farmer. But if we look at the Ten Commandments, that will apply to every true believer. Levite, farmer, anybody. We get situations, for example, as there will be laws or Torah for clean living. This will not apply for many people today. For example, in the days of Moshe, you had to go outside the camp if you have to use bathroom facilities, or to have to go take your bucket or your spade, and there you go and you dig a hole. That will not be applicable today because of the bathroom facilities we have today. We have got a whole system that works that will take the excrement of the human away from the society or where the people live. Women, for example, who have their menstrual cycle, there are very hygienic products, feminine products that they can use without becoming a health issue. So also the laws for this offering of animals does not apply today anymore, because Yahusha has become our ultimate sacrifice, the last sacrifice for the sin of man. We cannot slaughter another animal because we now live in the renewed covenant, which we read in the following that Yahusha made very clear. In Hebrews 10 verse 12 and 14. But he, having offered one slaughter offering for sins for all time, sat down at the right hand of Elohim. For by one offering he has perfected for all time those who are being set apart, meaning the children of Israel. So, let's have a look. I've got a list compiled that covers most areas of the 613 laws. So there will be 613 laws covering different areas. And we will see which apply and which not. For example, many of the laws we see in the Torah are about governing of kingdoms and civilian life. So it will involve kings and rulers. We have Israel's judicial system, which will apply to all people. The Levites in their temple duties will only be for the Levites. The Nazarites or the Nazarim or Israel, it applies, is the 10 Commandments will apply to everybody. Israel victories will be for everybody. Offerings, for example, the animal sacrifice for the forgiveness of sins will not apply anymore today. Temple behavior around the temple attendance will be for all those attending. Love for Yahuah will be for everybody. Love for His Word will be for everybody. Prayer will be for everybody. Love for your neighbor will be for everybody. Marriage and family, of course, for those who are married and their families, for all of them. Clean and pure sexual practice will only be applicable for those married. Idolatry for everybody. Business practice for the businessman. Food guide will be for everybody. Cleanliness and health will be for everybody. Sabbaths and scriptural feasts will be for everybody. Farming practice will be for the farmers. Covenant and making of oaths for those who keep the covenant of Yahuah will be everybody, and making oaths for those who are making oaths. Many laws you keep today, you don't even realize you are keeping the laws. For instance, cleanliness. You don't have to draw water from the river anymore. You can just open a tap. You know you've got clean drinking water. Gathering of wood. Like in the old days, you don't have today anymore. You just switch on the stove. So, in conclusion, many of the laws of the Torah we have to keep. Many does not apply to everybody. So, I recommend that you pray to Yahuah, read the Torah, and let Him show you which laws apply to you. Till next time, Shalom.